All right, we're back. We're on page 96 of math analysis, and we are going to be practicing using the 14 formulas. So we know all 14 of them, and what we want to do is make sure that we can use them. I think what I want to do is probably use a calculator for some of the numerical calculations, because I don't want to spend all day here doing these. So this sheet, you're supposed to, so if we were having a class right now, I would be like, somebody give me a ratio, somebody give me a quadrant, and we would, do it that way. So what I'm gonna do is just like pick my own things. So I'm gonna say that maybe like sine of A is, I don't know, negative 15 over 17. And then so sine, it's negative. So I'm gonna put this in quadrant 3. And then I need another ratio. So let's go with cotangent of B. And let's make it negative, I don't know, negative 7 over 24, and we'll put it in quadrant 4. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is everything based on that. And it kind of like, so you wanna start off, use Pythagorean triples first of all. So I did 8, 15, 17, 7, 24, 25. Use those, because otherwise your answers, you're gonna have radicals, it's gonna be gross. But it kind of doesn't matter what you start out with, because once you've drawn your picture, you can use whatever you want. So negative 15, 17. So it's 8, 15, 17. That should be negative 8. So that's going to be for A. And then for B, quadrant 4. So tangent is negative 24 over 7. And then this should be 25. 7, 24, 25. Okay. So let's see. What are we doing? So we want to find, you don't have to do them in order, and so I'm not going to do them in order. I'm going to kind of go in the order that I want to go in. So like right away, I think that I want to do this one first, and then I will do this one, and I'm going to do that one just by the fact that sine is odd. And the reason I'm starting with the first one is because that's how I have it memorized. So this I know is going to be sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B. All right, and then we go to our triangles. So the sine of A is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, so that's negative 15 over 17. And then the cosine of B is going to be 7 over 25. And then minus the cosine of A is going to be negative 8 over 17. Negative 8 over 17. And then the sine of B is going to be negative 24 over 25. So here we go, negative 24 over 25. All right, so yeah, I mean, I'm just going to use a calculator. One thing, when you're multiplying by 25 though, if you can think of like change, right? Like if I had 17 quarters, that's like 16 quarters, so $4 and 1 quarter left over, so $4.25. I was like, you can use that, and then you could just do it by hand, but I don't really want to. So what I'm going to do is see how this works. So let me go to a calculator page, and what I'll do is I'm going to set it up so that I can check it. So I know, like, for example, A should be quadrant 3, so pi plus, and then arc sine of the absolute value, so 15 over 17. And then B should be quadrant 4, so I'm going to do 2 pi minus arc cotan of the absolute value, so 7 over 24. All right, so if I want to find sine of A minus B, I get that, negative 297 over 425. According to my work, it should be negative 15 over 17 times 7 over 25, and then minus negative 8 over 17, and negative 24 over 25. So if you look, let me just press enter. Okay, so we got it. If you look at this, you can actually speed up entering this on your calculator, because they're both going to be over 17 times 25. So you could just do negative 15 times 17 minus negative 8 times negative 24 over 17 times 25. So it's worth it to find these little like hacks you can do to kind of speed things up, because it's a lot of writing. So I'm going to fill this in and then go back to the notes and do the next part. So negative 297 over 425. All right, back to the notes. Here we go. So I immediately have another answer that I can write because, whoa, I accidentally scrolled instead of going back to the notes. Here we go. As soon as I find sine of a minus b, I know what sine of b minus a is, right? Because this is going to equal the negative of the, maybe I should show an extra step. So it's going to be the sine of the negative of a minus b. But then sine is odd, so that's going to be the negative of the sine of a minus b. So as soon as I found sine of a minus b, I knew that the sine of b minus a would be the opposite. All right, and we got 2 of them done out of like a whole lot. So, all right, the next one I'm going to do is number 3. I'm going to do this, third. And then after I get that answer, I'm going to do this because I'll be able to do sine divided by cosine. And that's what I really want to do. So let's do this. This will be cosine A, cosine B plus sine A, sine B. All right, so we got to plug in. You can almost, like, if you did it in a nice organized way, which hopefully you did, it's like cosine of B is here. So we know that, and then like cosine of A is here. So like in theory, we can start just kind of like grabbing things. I need 4 colors to really make this work. So sine of A is here. And then I need a 4th color. Here we go. It's not a very different 4th color, but it's still different. And then, oh my God, so sine of B, cosine of B, it's not exactly what I signed up for, sine of A, and then cosine of A. All right, let's see if my color coding has worked. So it should be -8 over 17, and then 7 over 25, and then plus like light green. That's a weird way to do it. And then darker blue. Okay, so let's see if this worked. So cosine of A, so I'm going to use the triangles to see if this works. I'm pretty sure it did. Cosine of A should be -8 over 17. Yes. Cosine of B should be 7 over 25. Yes. Sine of A is -15 over 17. Yep. And sine of B is -20. Yeah, it worked. Okay. So should I color code those? I really don't want to. Well, let me do it. So cosine of A. You know what I could do is I could just be copying and pasting. That's not really right. You shouldn't do that. But you could. And then the last one is this. Okay, back to the calculator. We'll find this. And then actually, I'm just going to find for tan of A minus B. I'm going to do sine of A minus B over the cosine of A minus B. So I'll be able to get that one too. I'll get that while I'm on the calculator too, just because I can. So here we go, back to the calculator. And then we're like 4 done, and we'll see how it goes from there. So what am I going to do here? I want to do -8 times 7 plus -15 times -24, and then that's over 17 times 25. So I get that. Let's check and see if that's actually cosine of A minus B. It is. Okay, so we got 304 over 425. 304 over 425. And then you don't actually really need a calculator because you're just going to do sine over cosine. So the next one should be -297 over 304 if you are paying attention. So because I'm doing this divided by this, and I get -297 over 304. And then if I check the tangent of A minus B, I get -297 over 304. So let me jot that down. -297 over 304. You also could have done, if you wanted to, tan of A minus tan of B over 1 plus tan A tan B. So if you're using a calculator, there's no reason not to like try all of these things. See if you remember the formulas, see how it goes from there. It's a really good idea. So let's go back and see what else we can. We're trying to do these in like not the most efficient way, but an efficient way, so that we're not having to do a million calculations that maybe we don't need. So I need sine of A plus B Well, I need sine of b plus a, cosine of a plus b, cosecant of a plus b, tangent of a plus b. All right, I know where I'm starting. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. So what am I up to, 5? I'm going to do this next. And then once I do that, I will do this. And then when I'm done with that, I will calculate this. And then once I know like number 5 and number 7, I will use those to get number 8 up here. So that's my order of attack here. So let's see if we can do this. So sine of b plus a is going to be sine b cosine a plus cosine b sine a. And if you prefer on this one, you could just do the sine of b plus a is equal to sine of a plus b. So like I like to be flexible in my thinking, and like, you know I can like rearrange these things. If you don't want that, you know, go with this. But if you're willing to, you could rearrange it. So if I could get these on the same page here, which I kind of can, but only sort of, I'm going to do my color coding here again and just steal values again, which again, I don't think this is really the best way to do this, but it's kind of neat. Also, I just highlighted in the wrong color, so that's not great. This cosine of b is the lighter blue. I should have used like a straight up different color, but I didn't. And so we're all going to suffer through that for the rest of the video. Green, what are you? Sine of a. And then what even is the other color? Blue, darker blue. The darker blue one is the sine of b. Okay. And then, so I need dark blue is negative 24 over 25. I mean, it's pretty handy. The purple is negative 8 over 17. And then it's plus, and then the lighter blue, 7 over 25. Can't wait until someone tells me that's not the color that it is. And then green is going to be negative 15 over 17. There we go. I feel like I should also, I don't know why I feel compelled to like do this. Well, okay, so I feel compelled to do this because it's gonna help me in kind of the short run, because I'll have like the what would you call it, like the key, right? The way the Rosetta Stone of how to convert between these things I'll have in the same spot. So I mean, it's going to be useful to me. I don't know how useful it is to you. So you know what? I'm going to do cosine of a plus b while I'm here, just so that we can do more on the calculator when we get there. So 6 we'll just get for free because the cosecant of a plus b is just 1 over the sine of a plus b. So we need to know number 5 to get number 6. Cosine of a plus b is going to be cosine a, cosine b, and then plus the sine of a, the sine of b. Except it's going to be minus, and I don't know why I said that wrong. Cosine, cosine, minus sine, sine. I did it too slowly. That's the problem. Gotta go fast, you know? People are always complaining that I go too fast. Slow it down and watch me make mistakes. All right, cosine of a is going to be negative 8 over 17. Cosine of b is going to be 7 over 25. I like this system. And minus the sine of a is going to be negative 15 over 17. And then the sine of b is going to be negative 24 over 25. Oof, I don't know how confident I am in those. All right, so what's sine of a? Should have been here. That worked out. And then the cosine of, I don't know why I'm going in this order, but cosine of a, negative 8 over 17, awesome. Cosine of b, I'm using this light, perhaps it's teal, I don't really know. 7 over 25, awesome. And then the color that's missing is the one I really just don't like this color, I think. I should have used like red, but it's way too late. Way too late to go back. All right, and then after I get that, I'm going to then do the tangent. Oh no, tangent of a plus b is going to be the sine of a plus b over the cosine of a plus b. So this is my game plan. Now we're going to tackle all of these on the calculator like right now and be like pretty close to done. So you get a lot of them done here. Let's see. Okay, so first we're going to do negative, so I'm doing sine of A plus B, or sine of B plus A really. So negative 24 times negative 8. So this will work as long as I don't make a mistake. 7 times negative 15, and then that's going to be over 17 times 25. I mean, that denominator is just going to keep coming up. So let's see if that's actually the sine of B plus A, which it is. So 87 over 425, let me just write that. Which means that the cosecant is 425 over 87. So you know the formulas that you need. You don't have to come up with more formulas. You just have to figure out how are they related to what we want, right? So if I do cosecant of B plus A, you get 425 over 87, which is what we were expecting. Let's try to do the cosine of A plus B. So that's going to be negative 8 times 7 minus negative 15 times negative 24 over 17 times 25, because that's always going to happen. And then we think that's the cosine of A plus B, which is, we're going to handwrite that in, negative 416 over 425. This is like a puzzle. I kind of like it. And then I need to do the sine divided by the cosine. So the sine is 80. So it's going to be 87 over negative 416. You just look at the numerator over the numerator. And that should be the tan of A plus B. And it is. So let me write that in. And we are like crushing this. Negative 87 over. The really annoying part of this when you're doing it in class is that I basically don't let you use a calculator. So that takes forever. And is it worth it? Probably not. But like sometimes you just got to review multiplication, man. People get bad at it over time. And like it comes back kind of quickly. All right. Is there any more efficient stuff that we can do? Not really, because we got to find the cosine of 2a, but not the sine of 2a, so that doesn't matter. We got to find sine of 2b, but not the cosine, and then tan of 2a. So these are all just going to be pretty straightforward. So I'm going to say that cosine. So when I can, I'll try to use like given information. So since I was given for this particular problem, since I was given the sine of a, I think it makes sense to try to find the cosine of 2a using the formula that only involves sine. So I'm going to do 1 minus 2 sine squared of a. So sine squared of a. So sine of a is this green one. So we're going to do 1 minus 2 sine of a, negative 15 over 17. And then we'll square that. And so I'll do that on the calculator in a minute. Sine of 2b. You actually don't really have a choice, just 2 sine b cosine b, right? There aren't multiple formulas for this. So this will be, what colors are you? Sine of b is the one I don't like. And then cosine of b is the one that looks sort of like it that I do like. So this will be negative 2, negative 24 over 25. And then cosine of b, 7 over 25. Do that on the calculator in a second. Tangent. So tangent, it's like, you kind of have to, like, would it be faster to just find cosine of 2a and then do, no, rather sine of 2a and do sine divided by cosine? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, one advantage of that is that I have all the ratios. Here I'm gonna have to do 2, the tangent of a over 1 minus the tan squared of a. So I need to go up and find the tangent of a. This is the first new one that I needed to find. So let's see if we can do that. Tangent of a. So here, tangent, opposite over adjacent. So 15 over 8. 15 over 8. 2 times 15 over 8. 1 minus the quantity, 15 over 8 squared. Okay. I'm going to go to the calculator now and calculate all 3 of these. So, and I'll also show you while I'm there that like we could have done the other cosine formulas and it would have been totally fine. So here, cosine of 2a is definitely this. And what we're doing is 1 minus 2 times negative 15 over 17 squared. So we get that. You could have done 2, what is the cosine of a? Cosine of a, 2 times negative 8 over 17 squared minus 1. same result. You could have done cosine squared, so negative 8 over 17 squared minus sine squared, so negative 15 over 17 squared, and you get that. No matter what you do, you're going to get the same answer. So it's not super important which one you choose, because you will get the same result no matter what. 161 over 289. I'm excited. We're like almost done with this. All right, sine of 2b should be that. What we're going to get is 2 times negative 24 over 25. And what is it? Positive 7 over 25. So we get negative 336 over 625. And again, do these. Like play around on the calculator, punch in buttons. It's like reassuring. You know what you're doing because the calculator keeps confirming it. Tangent of 2a. Okay, and then we're going to do 15 over 8. 1 minus 15 over 8 squared. Negative 240 over 161. So if you didn't want to, here's a thing you can do also. You could have done 2, like let's say 2z over 1 minus z squared, and then just do such that z equals 15 over 8. And then you only have to type it once, and it's a little faster. It's a little tip to, speed things along for you potentially. You want to know every option available. All right, back to the notes. We're gonna do some half angles. Then we're gonna call it a video. Who knows how long this is, but we did a ton of problems. So also this is a video that's like very easy to pause, walk away from, come back. All right, sine of b over 2. We got to think about this. B over 2. All right, so b is in quadrant 4. Right, so it's in quadrant 4, which means that we're like 3 pi over 2. Well, not less than or equal to, I guess, but less than b is less than 2 pi. So there's a lot to think about here because what I'm doing isn't 100% true. I'm assuming that b is somewhere between 0 and 2 pi. If it's not, different things can happen. I don't want you to have to worry about those right now. B over 2, so therefore b over 2 is between 3 pi over 4 and pi, which means b over 2 is an element of quadrant 2. And since we're going to try to find the sine of b over 2, therefore sine is positive. So we're going to take the positive square root. So this is going to be the square root, the positive square root. So I'll put plus. You don't need that, obviously. 1, it's sine. It doesn't really go with cosine, so minus cosine of b. And then over 2. And then the cosine of b is this color, which means it's 7 over 25. So we're going to do the square root of 1 minus 7 over 25 over 2. I guess I'll use a calculator for that. I don't know. And then cosine, we got to do the same sort of analysis. Like where does a over 2 put us? So let's think. A is an element of quadrant 3. So assuming a is between 0 and 2 pi, big assumption, but we're going to make that assumption. We're between pi and 3 pi over 2. So divide by 2. Pi over 2, a over 2, and then 3 pi over 4. So definitely a is an element of quadrant 2. So cosine is negative. So we're going to take the negative of the square root. So that's why we did that analysis to work out, like, should it be positive or should it be negative? So this would be the negative of the square root of 1. Cosine should go with cosine, so it's plus. There's nothing scientific about the way that I remember those, but I find it really useful. So cosine of A, what color are you? Purpley? Lavender? I don't know what color that is. So that's going to be negative 8 over 17. So radical 1 plus negative 8 over 17 over 2. And then, yeah, I don't know why I put an equals here because we're definitely just going to put them in there. Let's go to the calculator. This is exciting. This is the moment. We either will have gone whatever for whatever, or we will have gotten some wrong. Let's see. So I'm just going to find the sine of b over 2. and I get, oh, just 3/5. That's weird. And then here, if I do the square root of, so like it looked like I could do that by hand like pretty easily, which is why I was like, I guess I'll use a calculator. 3/5, nice. Okay, so we got that. What are you doing? I'm trying to write with the eraser. I try to do some weird things when I'm using an iPad, like that I would never do in the real world. And then we want the cosine, yeah, of a over 2. We get negative, and then if we punch in what we had, negative, it always make me choose between negating my answer and putting a negative sign. Negative square root of 1, I'm gonna say minus 8 over 17 over 2. All right, I'm gonna de-rationalize that and say it's negative 3 over radical 34 because I don't have a really good reason for that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. All right, let's go back and I'll like zoom out so you can see all the answers and compare yours. What you can do though, and you should do, is try it again, make up different ratios. So stick to Pythagorean triples, take a Pythagorean triple, divide through by the hypotenuse, like use those as your ratios. Change them up, see if you can still do them. This page is like an infinite amount of practice problems for you, because just take any triple, divide through, and you got it. But anyway, I think the color coding was kind of neat. And I feel like there's a couple more that I should have color coded, but I'm definitely not going to go back and do those. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I will see you in the next video, and we're just going to keep on going. So see you there.